Well, the idea is, yes, the suffering is there, and we do things to cause suffering to be magnified, and it seems to be natural. It seems to be we make a mistake, and we say something and someone takes it the wrong way, or we become angry and greedy and all these things, and we suffer from it. And we realize, hey, wait a minute, I've done this so many times before, and it had this consequence. Why do I keep, suffering? Why do I keep, hurting myself? And this is one of the keys to spiritual practice, because, again, Sri Krishna, but he talk about causing suffering. In the Bhagavad Gita, he gave the entire teaching to Arjuna. Literally, it was about a year later, Arjuna came back to Sri Krishna and said, that Gita you told me back then when we were having the war, I forgot it. And so, can you tell me it again? Sri Krishna said, no, it's over. Then Arjuna went and meditated and retrieved it. But then the final teaching of Sri Krishna to Uddhava in the Mahabharata, Sri Krishna literally boils everything down and says, okay, even if you don't follow the Gita, you don't follow the Bible, you don't follow all the scriptures, you do this. Shake off sloth and remember me. So the sloth is the key, a slothful nature. And literally the word used is pramada. Pramada means a willful indifference to the consequences of action. Okay? We willfully say, I don't care. I'm going to do this, I'm going to suffer, but I'll have some benefit and gain. So it's a willful indifference to the consequences, usually of negative action. He says you shake yourself off from that and remember me. And so the suffering we do is we have the choice. And so the discrimination we're trying to develop, literally the Mula Mantra and the Gayatri Mantra especially, we're praying to Savitri Gayatri to give us this discrimination, literally between, to understand right from wrong. This is the entire Gayatri Mantra. This is literally the Dio Yonat Prachodayat. We're asking the Divine Mother to not enlighten us, but just give us that discrimination so we know the difference between right and wrong, so we stop stabbing ourselves.
When you also say that the key is in the remember me, the la ilaha illallah, I remember there is no God but God. In every tradition you have that Shema Yisrael Adonai Elohim.
Well, actually, if you look, one thing about the Indian scriptures and even the teachings of the West, you take it systematically. When Sri Krishna says, shake off sloth and remember me, first you concentrate on shaking off sloth. For instance, Sri Ramana Maharshi, someone asked him, what is moksha? What is liberation? He quoted, I think it's the 46th Psalm of the Bible. And he said, be still and know that I am God. So we think, great. We very quickly skip over the be still part. But religion and spirituality is very much scientific. First be still, and then you'll know. And so, yes, it's to say, there is no other God than God, but to experience that. And that's why we do meditation, that's why prayer, that's why suffering is there. So we'll turn and say, without your help, I'm lost. And literally, even Jesus on the cross, when he said, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? This is Jesus who had, full awareness. At that moment, that dark night of the soul came upon him, and then he said that, what did he say right after that? Into thy hands I commend my spirit. So, when we have a world and seemingly a God who's screaming at us, if we just say, I commend it all to you, then the healing begins. So it's interesting, we're going back to your question. The efficacy is not so much in the medicine. The efficacy is you're asking for the prescription. You're putting forth the effort to say, okay, I need it.
Can I ask you a question about breathing? And you spoke about a stressful life. We know how important breathing is in meditation.
Right.
Can one, like if you were driving a car, start to do that breathing in order to bring down your stress? Is that technique used? Or if you've got an odd moment during the day,
Right.
that you can start using that meditation breathing?
Well, actually, the practice of watching the breath should be employed all the time, because but it takes practice, because literally what we're trying to do is achieve right concentration. So literally while you're driving or doing something with some potential danger, of course you're fully aware, but to remove the stress, literally the fact of watching the breath is literally, like I say, a divine ascent. The Jacob's ladder of divine ascent is the breath, because there's a breather of the breath. They say the prana is the life force in us. The human breath is literally a vehicle, which, like a chariot, where the prana, the breath sits in the chariot, and the prana life force goes out. What we're trying to accomplish is the removal of stress by just literally focusing the mind. So when they say watching the breath, what they're saying, what the practice is taking the multifarious thoughts and reducing them to one thought, attention on the breath. This is something we should discuss later, maybe even after we take a break, because this is a form of meditation that is probably the most profound.
So you can do it all
You
the
should
time.
do it. You should do it all the time, to be aware of the respiration, because it is immediately a calming effect. And so literally, if we have difficulty around us, and it's not like pulling the mind in and zoning everything out. It's literally just being aware of the respiration. In fact, it's called respiration mindfulness. You're just being aware of that pulsating movement, and that causes the mind to calm down. This is a practice we should discuss later, because it's really profound. Should we take a break?